compared to the rest of the world because you go down a level, and as Dr. Redder and as the WFP know, it's all handled by traders. And the small farmers at the bottom of the system maybe get 2/3 to half of the real value of their milk because they haven't got the quality standards, they haven't got the equipment, they haven't got the knowledge. Milk, as it comes out of a cow, is the purest, most natural, most sterile substance you can get. But of course, as soon as you drop it into something that's dirty or unclean, it doesn't meet my quality standards. We run 11 million tests a year on quality. And again, Nestle will be in a similar position.
But there's a solution. And what we're working towards now, and this is how we all join together, is milk collection centres. The government is very supportive of this. We're hoping the World Food Programme will join us as well. And this is where you have a centre equipped with simple equipment that's sustainable, maintainable, in a remote area, our factory is in quite a wide area, collects from 20 or 30 farms, creates enough for maybe 1 or 2 tankers of milk. Those tankers can come to our factory, pre-tested, and suddenly you've got a sustainable value chain that's impacting 300, 400 people. You repeat that, and instead of having to have big farms, you have little farms, and then you have a mix. That's how you start to build security and resilience. So for me, the key words are big duty as a food producer, same as my colleague here. Big duty to create resilience. We all saw that wheat in Egypt suddenly we'll make cotton, you make wheat. That was great. I had Minister Max, the finance minister, talking. That suddenly stopped working with the Ukraine war. You can't eat cotton. This was the problem. You can't eat cotton. And it's great to have a global supply chain, but we need in Egypt to build resilience. And that's one of our pushes as we go out. So more and more resilience, security, sustainability, and that's how we get there. With my final word, collaboration, building these relationships, top and bottom, for a resilient value chain. Sorry, I talked too long.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. So, Rosella, back to you again. Can you give us a quick sum of the impacts anticipated and calculated for climate change when it comes to the food sector?
I think we're looking for soon. Yeah. Okay, so when it comes to climate change, as I was mentioning before, it's really impacting already the key elements that you mentioned in your intervention when it comes to food security. It's impacting already the production, so we are already witnessing that basically we may have a problem of availability of agriculture and food. It's impacting the affordability, so the economic access of people to food. Therefore, it's becoming basically it's hindering poor, vulnerable household access to food, and it's impacting the utilization of household level. These are the three elements that we really look at, and there were elements that were mentioned by all of our colleagues. When we think about the food that we eat, the food that we eat is impacted by climate change, but it's also producing responsible for 1/3 of greenhouse emissions. So it's really about moving to sustainable and healthy diets if we really want to make a difference. It is also basically looking at how we can power our programs and activities with clean energy. These are all the elements that we're witnessing right now. In terms of like the impact, it's an impact that is related to sudden shocks, but also to the silent tsunamis that I was mentioning before. There are chronic long-term effects of climate change, which are, for example, the peak waves, the increase in temperature, the impact that it has on the work of smallholder farmers. So these are, in a nutshell, like all the elements that we keep analyzing to see how climate change is impacting food security and nutrition in the longer term. One additional element that I wanted to mention is when we are looking at healthy diets, it's also like looking at how this is impacting the diversity of diets, the diversity of the food that people eat, and the quality that they are eating. I'll stop here on this one. I could go on, but I think that we all need to. Yeah.
Dr. Reda, what are the harmful effects of climate change on the food sector in Egypt? What measures have you been taken at the Federation to address it? And please, Dr. Reda, feel free talking in Arabic and my colleague Shaimaء will translate. فأنا حضرتك أتكلم بالعربي ده تمام. إنجليزي عربي إحنا معاك. مش مشكلة. لو حضرتك عايز إنجليزي عربي اللي يريحك.
Dry agriculture land, this is the main problem. Lack of rain, sea level raise, crop damage, low productivity, irregular supply chain, high temperature, changing crop growing season, the spread insect species and new species from them, growing agriculture land vegetation, increasing the salinity of agriculture land, increasing water consumption due to the high evaporation rate of evaporation.
انتوا do you help الاتحاد انتوا بتساعدوا sorry guys I'll speak with Arabic and I'll انتوا بتساعدوا القطاعات دي يعني you as a federation how do you support those sectors؟
الحقيقه هي غرفه الصناعات الغذائيه او اتحاد الصناعات المصريه هم الاشتراك مع الجهات المعنيه في الحكومه. بنحاول ان احنا نخفف من الدونر، بعض من الدونر برضه بيبقى لهم نشاطات مختلفه. الحاجات دي بيبقى احنا مجرد احنا بنبقى حلقه وصل، بنحاول نوصل الشركات اللي عندها مشاكل في ده مع الجهات الرسميه، مع لو في جهات مانحه، بحيث ان احنا بنقدر ان احنا نتغلب على او نخفف الاثار اللي هي موجوده. ويمكن احنا شفنا في السنه اللي فاتت حصل فيه تاثيرات كبيره قوي على المحاصيل بالذات، اللي في انخفاض نتيجه لتغير الظروف الجويه ودرجه الحراره بتختلف بالليل عن النهار، فبالتالي اثرت محصول المانجا في مصر، اتاثر بنسبه كبيره. محصول الزيتون برضه حصل فيه تاثير، حتى لدرجه نوع عسل النحل حصل فيه تاثير، لان هو النحل نتيجه لبروده الجو او تغيير الظروف الجويه، فبالتالي النحل ما بيطلعش على سيستم ازهار، فبيستمر في الخليه بتاعته، فبيتغذى على الاكل اللي هو.
اسمح لي اترجم يا دكتور عشان بس ما تقولش. I was asking, as you already heard the question. So Dr. Reda said the Chamber of Food at the Federation of Egyptian Industry, they have a role in advocating and supporting the different sectors, whether by providing donors to support them, or whether by giving them advices. And he said that climate change affected a lot of sectors, such as the mango crops this year, honey crops, olive crops. So we witnessed a lot of changes and challenges on those sectors. Right? And thank you, Dr. Reda. So up to you back again, Yasmin. How have you managed the emissions and environmental impacts of your business? And when did you start reporting on those emissions?
First of all, when we applied our pathway, we had the baseline 2018, and we calculated as per South Pole that our emissions, they are globally twice the size of Switzerland. And we decided to deep dive and have clear projects and clear milestones across the way. 2050 is far, maybe the future generation, our kids will handle it, but we have to start and we have to accelerate. So for example, by 2025, which is around the corner, we want to step up our 800 sites globally to renewable electricity by 2025. We need as well to address our packaging. So it's not only about restoring, protecting the environment, but also when it comes to packaging, the secondary benefits, they are the emissions. So when you avoid the littering in landfill, lakes, and oceans. But back to agriculture, because this is the core. So we have dedicated only until 2025 around 1.3 to 1.5 billion dollars behind this transition, because it's going to be costly in the beginning, and we need to as well transfer technical knowledge to farmers to educate them not only on the farming technicalities but also to arm them with financial stamina, because at the farm you manage a P&L, and we have to ensure a just transition, since the regenerative agriculture practices, they will start to yield benefits after 4 years, to the midterm, to the longer term, until they will have the right capacity to have better livelihoods. So we have 2,000 agronomists across the world who are busy in the field shaping this knowledge, building capabilities. And also we have Agriculture Academy, because we are keen to nurture the youth of farmers. We don't want everyone just to be alienated from the rural area and to go to the urban to make a good living. We want this agripreneurship to show them that the land is sexy. We want to be there. We want to be the custodians of the future and to be able to feed the world. So we are, through regenerative agriculture, we defined metrics where you have biodiversity KPIs, you have the soil health, the nutrients in the soil that will improve the quality of the nutrition in the food. And research is still work in progress to validate this aspect. We care for water conservation where they operate, for animal welfare. And if you put all of this together, we want through this support to reward them for adopting and embracing regenerative agriculture. So we are prepared to pay premium for tackling those aspects of regenerative agriculture. And eventually, inshallah, those farmers, and definitely you cannot copy paste from one country to another, it's very local in context, depending on the ecosystem, environment, but they will be able to influence the network. So now on social media, you see influencers maybe talking about luxury and other stuff. We want those farmers to be the activists and our influencers for mitigating climate change through regenerative agriculture, being climate resilient, financial resilient, and being empowered to steer this journey together with us.
And maybe thank you very much, Yasmin, very informative. And maybe my next question to you, Yasmin, was what about Egypt? What are you doing here in this unique, fruitful setting, the context for each of the countries? What about you?
I will zoom into MENA from global, because Egypt is embedded in MENA, and I can give a couple of examples on Egypt. So look, when it comes to addressing the environment, this is not, happening now because sustainability is a buzzword. It is embedded in our DNA. We've always had creating shared value where you have people, communities, and the planet. It comes and foremost in our strategy. So more than a decade, we were able, through all our factories, to ensure saving 30% of water withdrawal per ton of product. We were able to reduce energy by 35%, and as well to create efficiencies in as well reducing GHG emissions by 41% and ensuring zero waste to landfill across all our sites. So when it comes to Egypt, we have 3 factories. All our engineers, they are passionate to reduce and to remove. So we have projects bottom up that are contributing to this umbrella. We have as well ambitions toward water regeneration. We have our water factory in Benha. So we want to regenerate 100% of what we consume. So this is the mindset. And zooming into packaging, yes, we are proud that in Egypt in 2019 we started a research about with CID Consultancy, where we kicked off a project called Reverse Credit System, where we work with more than 2,000 informal waste collectors to collect PET. So every ton out, it should be every ton back, to eventually evolve into creating a circular economy and close the loop. So we're working with them, we're impacting them. This is helping to eliminate emissions, so on and so forth. And then when it comes to food, ensuring food security, so we're ensuring being supply chain resilient. When you have 3 factories in a country, this gives you the agility to ensure there is food on the shelf, the freshness, the affordability, knowing the demographical context, and the penetration to households to put food on the table.
Thank you.
So that's it.
Thank you. Since we're in the private sector, my question to you, Mark, what's the volume of Betty's investments in Egypt, and how much is that dedicated to sustainability plan?
If you look at the total investment over the last 10 years of Beatty, we've invested 5 billion EGP. That's about $400 million. That's resulted in a massive factory, a 30% market share, but also a huge responsibility and duty to start moving from a producer, manufacturer, seller to a circular economy. This week we signed a pact with Tetra, with Johanna, our biggest competitor, to recycle used beverage cartons, starting to build that circular economy. That means that we're looking initially at 8,000 tons, but beyond that, we want to get to the capacity, maybe 50,000 tons, so that every beverage container, cardboard one with the aluminium and plastic inside, can be recycled, and all of that packaging can be reused. That's a big target, and it will take us years to get there, but we're on our way. I think generally, in sustainability, I identified the solar plant, that was $5 million. Effluent and gas, we just invested over the last few years in a natural gas plant. Now, natural gas, I'd like to shift that to electric, but at least it's better than the diesel and oil that we were using before. One of the things we're trying to move forward, I love the difference between the multinational, and I can feel, I love these Nestle targets, and that's where I want to be. But as a relatively small producer, 1% of the size of Nestle locally, we've got to try and work through in detail. So it's working farm by farm, factory by factory, little things where we have a zero loss program in our factories. Guido, our factory manager, is here. And we'll stop looking at losses as, allowable loss is 1% or 2% in the system. No, allowable loss is zero. We don't want any waste because it's food. You can't afford to waste food in the chain. You can't afford to reject milk at the front end. You can't afford to waste water as it comes out from the machine. So every day, Marcos is our chief engineer, is also here. Every day we are working to exactly in the practical way that Yasmin identified, very detailed level. We have our board over 65 different continuous improvement projects in our factory. And they're like, what? No, that's what we do every single day. These are the investments every company has to make. And the trick of places like this, working with the food industry, working with some of our competitors, sharing some of this research, is that we collaborate and then we can all move forward. I'll leave you with one concept that it's not my app, but imagine if I have an apple and you have an apple, I give you my apple. How many apples do you have, Yasmin? You give me your apple and I'll give you my apple. Yeah, we each have one apple. I have an idea and you have an idea. And I give you my idea and you give me your idea. We have 2 ideas each. And if we can do that sense and that collaboration, that's the way forward for Egypt. And that's the best investment for us.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Mentioning collaboration, Rosella, and I think this is one of the key SDGs, collaboration and partnerships. How can WFP collaborate with whether the other public sectors and private sectors in thriving food security and facing food?
Well, first of all, I am just going to be UN for 1 minute and tell you that our key SDGs are SDG 2, food security, and SDG 17, partnerships. So, obviously, we know that we are collaborating and we are contributing to all the other SDGs, but these are the two pillars. And this is really where we are focusing our energy as WFP, also in Egypt. It is about promoting food security and going to the household level, to the individual, to support them to be able to have the food security and nutrition, immediate needs addressed, but also to invest in the longer term future of their children and generations. Now, going back to partnerships, and so like looking at how we work with SDG 2 and SDG 17. So at one level, we are really looking at food security at individual level, as I just mentioned. And at the other, we are looking at not only at what we do, but how we can do it and how we can do it with others. It is about working with the national institutions. It is about working also with national entities and civil societies and local communities. So a lot of our work goes down to the CDAs, to the community development associations that are present on the ground, know the communities, and are the first link to the people we want to reach. It is about partnering with the international community, with the donors, with all the actors that are here today at COP, but it is also about looking at how we can partner differently with the private sector, how we can link the most vulnerable to the broader development economic processes. And this is what really I think it's going to be interesting to see how we can find affordable, simple, scalable, and replicable solutions. This is what this COP is about, and this is where we really need to get our thinking together. I was mentioning yesterday in our panel, we are talking about how we can find real solutions that make a real difference in the life of people. Okay, let's agree on a set of actions that we will be bringing to COP28, and where we will be already showing the results for the people and for the planet.
Thank you, Rosella. Music to our ears. Thank you. Dr. Reda, again, الشراكات, الcollaborations, الpartnerships. ايه الشراكات اللي الفود شيمبر بتعمله سواء مع القطاع العام او مع القطاع الخاص؟ فتاني على مستوى الشراكات احب اعرف.
هي غرفه الصناعات الغذائيه عامله شراكات اولا مع جميع الجهات الحكوميه الفاعله اللي لها علاقه بالقطاع الغذائي ككل، سواء طبعا بصفه اساسيه التشريعيه، ويمكن بيجي في المقام الاول اللي هي هيئه سلامه الغذاء او هيئه المواصفات والجوده، لان دول اكثر حاجه خاصه بالتشريع والقوانين والمواصفات، فدول اللي هم يعني مهم جدا ان احنا نبقى ممثلين للقطاع الصناعي سواء عام او خاص بانواعه، وفي نفس الوقت بتبقى في مهمه ثانيه بعد كده ان احنا بنوصل المواصفات والتشريعات دي ونشرحها للقطاع ده ككل. الحاجه الثانيه مع زي ما قلنا بالنسبه لموضوع التغيرات المناخيه ده، في جهات المنحه مع السفارات والوكالات العالميه بتبقى ليها برضه مساعدات بطريقه او باخرى، فالغرفه الصناعات الغذائيه بتبقى بارتنر مهم جدا اللي هي بتبقى الفوكال بوينت او الكونتاكت مع القطاع الصناعي وبنشوف قد ايه ده. الحاجه الثانيه ممكن ان هو برضه يبقى في الغرف والمثيله في الدول المختلفه، سواء مش لازم تكون في مصر، ولكن بنعمل شراكات مع الجهات المثيله زينا زي الغرف التجاريه او الصناعيه في الدول، وفي نفس الوقت كله بيصب ان انت ازاي بتخدم العضو بتاعك او ان انت ازاي بتقدم له خدمات او بتوفرها له او بتعرفه.
see how Dr. Ahmed, as you heard my question to Dr. Reda, is answering that the Chamber of Food is the key link to both the private and the public sector. So they partner with the National Food Safety Authority, they partner with the Egyptian Organization of Standardization to finding long-term solutions, whether it comes to food security, climate change, and so on and so forth. Maybe I have to end the session because time is up, but I have one thing I believe in, and I would like all my panelists' view on it. I want each of you to give one call to action to our audience in here, because as Rosella mentioned, COP is not about, it's not a forum where we all meet and talk and that's it, but there is, I believe there is a call to action for each of us to stay out loud in here. So Rosella, Dr. Reda, Mark, and Yasmin.
So for me, it is really, as I mentioned before, linking the most vulnerable to the broader economic development processes to ensure their food security and nutrition. And I'll stop here because we can look at how we can do it together.
I think this reduce the water consumption and food damage.
Thank you, Dr. Yasmin.
It's all about really driving action. So ambition, yes, but enough talk. Let's accelerate action, walk the talk, talk the walk, and collaboration. Without this, there's no one savior, Superman, Wonder, whatever, magic one to solve the problem. So let's act now and be serious about it.
Thank you.
100% agree with all of that. I think very directly and very immediately, we have a responsibility to take $100 million that we spend every year on milk and get that value chain into affordable, sustainable, scalable solutions with the help of all of the partners in the room. That's an action we'll take forward.
So thank you everyone. Thank you for accepting my invitation, and thank you for being here today. It was a very useful panel, and I hope everyone enjoyed it as I did. Thank you very much.